Because you look at it at like an angle like this, like, yeah, that's straight.
Hey, listen here, maybe you need to start putting a hat on to cover up that bald spot. That's why I got the hat on to cover up my shit. So
Nah, I got a bald spot. You got a bald forehead.
no, yours is fucking growing. Let
Right
me tell
here.
you, yeah, like mine's going back. Yours is coming forward from the back.
That's fine. I'm cool with this.
Yeah.
That's fine. My hairline's still good.
My name's Colin Bell. That's Devin Willman, and we're both old and balding. And this is BELLSKI and DMAN at KCR BELLSKI.
4, right?
At Baseball Devin. Yes, number 4.
Oh my god.
Number 4.
We're 4 weeks older than I was.
God damn, yeah. This stressful podcast got him losing his hair.
No, look at this shit.
A lot to talk about today, mostly NFL. It was kind of a slow week in sports. Normally, I feel like we've got more than this to talk about, but we'll go ahead and start it with the Fantasy League as always. I moved up to 2-3. I'm no longer the highest scoring team in the league. I think Punk Killer's got me by that. He outscored me by like 20, but up to 2-3. Are you 2-3 now too?
I am. I started 0-3. I'm up to 2-3. Back-to-back wins.
Nice. Yeah, I made a trade. We both made a trade this week. Pretty
this week. Well, last week for me, but
yeah. I mean, I would say I probably lost the trade I made, to be completely honest. But I mean, I improved an area where I wanted to improve, and I got rid of a player who was never going to be used, who was a quality guy. I ended up trading I traded George Kittle and Zeke Elliott for OBJ and Adrian Peterson. And I know Adrian Peterson was a fucking terrible decision. He's already been released from the team. He's sent packing.
he's going to get Jamal.
Yeah. Oh, Jamal. That's a good idea. We'll talk about Jamal later. But, I got OBJ, and of course he threw a 57-yard touchdown pass and got me like 40 points even on the day, which was a solid start. But obviously Jackson got rid of him because he didn't do a whole lot for him up till this point in the season. Yeah. But same thing for me. Zeke Elliott didn't do a whole lot for me this season, and I still already had Kareem Hunt.
His thing is he's consistent. He's going to touch the ball 20 to 25, 30 times. You know, he's going to get anywhere between 18 and 30 points is a real ceiling in that league, but he can get it 100 yards and 2 touchdowns is 30 points in that league. So
that's true, yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I'll take it. I needed a wide receiver. I thought Will Fuller was going to be real good for me this year, but he's been hurt virtually the whole year.
I got 2 of them on my bench though. You can have. I got Cooper Kupp and Demaryius Thomas on the bench.
Give you Alex Collins for him.
You're a bum.
I took Jay Ajayi and
just
to piss him off, solely to piss him off. And he took Alex Collins, who I really was kind of wanting anyway. So we traded him straight up right after the draft, which was a good trade for me now, obviously, since Jay Ajayi is done for the year, torn ACL.
He's on my bench anyway.
Well, he's not on your bench anymore, right? He's in the free agent pool.
I picked up Shady.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, so, I mean, obviously, we can just start right there. The Eagles are rumored to be looking at Shady McCoy possibly. Obviously, we talked about this in probably like the first podcast, I think, of the Eagles being rumored to look at Le'Veon Bell with the trade rumors. That's always still on the table if something comes up, if they can find a deal. But obviously, you got the familiarity with Shady McCoy.
He never wanted to leave in the first place. Chip Kelly made him.
Chip Kelly fucked that whole team up.
He got rid of Macklin, Jackson, McCoy, and none of them wanted to leave.
But he kept Riley Cooper, though.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Not one of them wanted to leave. And I'm perfectly okay with, honestly, either one. I like Le'Veon Bell a little better. He's 4 years younger, a little bit healthier. But bringing back Shady's not a bad thing.
No. He's and I mean, he's doing nothing on the Bills. I mean, he's going to,
they're not a good team, though. It's not,
right.
it's not him not doing anything. He's literally
right. That's what I'm saying. I mean, the Bills, what do you have to lose? You're already going nowhere this season. Trade him for, even if you trade him for a fucking 4th rounder or something, that's one more pick that you've got that you can help,
it'd probably
build
be like
your team.
6th, and we'd take his salary away, and they'd be like, okay.
Right. So, I mean, but that's not something the Eagles can't do, and that's not something that wouldn't be bad for the Bills. So, it's something that could be a win-win for both teams. And I guess while we're at it, we already mentioned Jamal Charles. He was signed about 30 minutes ago by the Jacksonville Jaguars, coming off that loss to the Chiefs. Yeah, about an hour. But it'll be interesting to see how much playing time he gets. Obviously, Fortinet was out for the game against the Chiefs. He's already ruled
out for this week.
Already out this week. So he's missed most of the year, to be honest. And
they lost Corey Grant.
Okay, Corey Grant. Was he the one that got hurt in the Chiefs game?
He's the one that got hurt.
Okay, so I thought it was Yeldon
for the
at first.
Year. He's on IR.
Oh, wow, so
Yeldon has been battling ankle injuries for 2 weeks.
Right.
He's played.
So Yeldon's virtually going to be your feature back, and he's already banged up. So you got to get somebody in there. It'll be interesting to see if Jamal Charles gets any playing time. But
play.
as a lifelong fan, I'm just glad to see him back on a team. And I think he's still got something left in the tank. I think Denver didn't give him any opportunities last year. I don't know why they really even signed him, if not just to spite the Chiefs, possibly. But he got
like
nothing.
Oakland signing DJ.
Well, that's true, but DJ's playing though. He's getting significant time out there.
Well, yeah, but he's a good linebacker. I mean, if you can take him away from your division opponent, abso-freaking-lutely.
Right. But yeah, I mean, obviously the Chiefs didn't want DJ back. The Chiefs didn't want Jamal Charles back, anyways. I guess so.
2 ACL injuries.
That's true. I mean, we'll see what he does, though. It'll be interesting to see. Before we get into our normal sports, I guess we got to talk about McGregor and Khabib. That was a pretty solid fight.
It was a good fight, honestly. McGregor came out. It actually looked pretty good defensive-wise on the wrestling standpoint. Going from the whole UFC to boxing strictly.
I mean,
so
with that with the 2-year
hiatus from UFC, just to really strictly focus on boxing, for him to come back and actually look as good as he did on the ground was pretty amazing. He did lose in the ground, but I mean overall, pretty good defense. Khabib never took a break and showed why he's the best out there.
Right, and Khabib's undefeated still. Khabib, I think the ground game is way better than McGregor's. His stamina is way better than McGregor's. Obviously, a lot of McGregor's wins have come via knockout pretty early in the fight. To just put all those together, I mean, obviously I was rooting for Conor McGregor, but there was a very slim chance.
Just because he was the underdog in that fight, and he is literally the face of the UFC just because of his personality. I don't dislike McGregor. I don't dislike Khabib. I dislike Khabib a little more now, but I mean, I like the stars that go out there and make their sport something, and McGregor does that.
Right.
Doesn't mind being the underdog. Takes the Floyd Mayweather in his own sport, and the dude's 49-0. Like, how do you not at least somewhat respect that? Like, I don't care if I lose. I'm gonna go out there and give it to you.
Right. Well, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on the main fight. I think the biggest story in this is coming with what happened immediately after the fight. Obviously, you've got Khabib hopping out of the octagon and going after one of McGregor's coaches. You've got a couple of Khabib's guys going into the octagon, and one of them actually sucker punching McGregor. One of them hit him straight from behind. Yeah, didn't see it coming. I don't know. I mean, how do you feel? Like, is that a bad look for the UFC? I mean,
it's a terrible look for the UFC. It's an even more terrible look for Khabib. I understand the whole why he did it. Why, McGregor's a shit talker, but at the end of the day, all it is shit talking. Like, he didn't go after his dad. He talked about his religion, which obviously not okay, but it's just words. Until action is
But I mean,
done.
The same thing though. I mean, he did throw a dolly through Khabib's bus.
He was trying to do more than words that night.
Right. So I mean, I think both of these guys handled it the wrong way leading up to the fight, after the fight. But in my opinion, and I don't know, I just feel like this is good for the UFC. The UFC, the basis of the sport is beating the shit out of each other,
Yeah, which I get.
And I understand, McGregor, I mean, he went after his religion. He went after his dad. I mean, he deserved what was coming to him with the shit that he was talking about.
The thing is they went after him after he just went 4 rounds with Khabib.
No, absolutely. And I think those guys
weren't going to go after him if he's at full strength. Like, I'm rested for 2 months. Right. Like, come after me now. They aren't going to do that. Of course, they're going to take it when he's already on the ground. Like, I just got choked out.
Right.
After getting hit a few times as well. You know what I mean?
No, for sure. I agree. And, I mean, that part is a terrible look. You're absolutely right. But I think that speaks more of Khabib and Khabib's team. I guess we'll find out eventually whether it was... we'll find out whether it was something that Khabib had premeditated. I mean, it sure as hell looked like, he hops out, 2 guys hop in. It sure looks like that shit was planned before the fight. But, Khabib, his emotions, I can almost vouch for it. The other guys, whether it was something that they premeditated or not, that's something you can't vouch for. But I guess where I'm coming from with this is I went and watched this fight Saturday night at Buffalo Wild Wings. It was the first time I've ever gone out and, like, whether it was pay to cover charge or just watched it in public. I've never paid for a pay-per-view or anything like that for the UFC. The UFC for me is kind of like golf, where it takes a guy like a Tiger Woods or a guy like a Conor McGregor, someone who transcends the sport and becomes almost a mainstream star to get me to watch, to get me to pay attention. And that's the reason I was there, because I was there for McGregor to watch him. I didn't know a whole lot about Khabib. Obviously, I do a whole lot more now. But for me, this is good for the UFC just because I think it gets people... I mean, it's a storyline. It puts it out there. I mean, you got Saturday night, the fight happens, and Sunday morning is the NFL. Normally, no one's talking about the UFC fight last night. It's all about the NFL. And I mean, it was still one of the top stories. People talking about that even after the games on Sunday. Sunday night. They're talking about what happened and how that's going to affect whether there's going to be a rematch, and it'll be interesting to see.
I think there's going to be a rematch, but honestly, I don't know if Khabib's going to be allowed back in the country.
That's the thing, right? And that's what Dana White's already said.
Yeah, he's like, he might get his belt stripped, he might blah, 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 and I don't think
they wouldn't give him his cash, they wouldn't give him the belt in the ring. I think they're going to give him his cash.
He's going to get,
for sure.
He's going to get fined, but he's still going to get paid, but he might be done in the UFC, which kind of sucks because they're losing one of their best guys. But, it's just one of those things. I don't think McGregor honestly cares. I think he's more interested in trying to
he put that thing on Twitter about lost the match but won the battle. I can't agree with that necessarily. You got dominated in the fight. Even if the thing would have went to decision, I think it would have been very easily Khabib's fight. He just, First
round, I would have given it to McGregor just based on defense.
Really?
10-9.
Oh, wow. I would not.
The next 3 rounds were.
I think Khabib took the first 2 rounds. I had McGregor winning the 3rd round slim just because he was able to stay up and not get taken down to the ground. But I don't know a whole lot about the UFC, so we'll leave it at that for that. If there is a rematch, though, I will definitely be interested, and we'll definitely be talking about it. But until then, we'll put the UFC on the back burner. The MLB playoffs continue to advance here. The NLCS is already set. The Brewers and the Dodgers. The Brewers swept the. Oh Lord. The Dodgers beat the Braves 2-1, 3-1 in their series. The Brewers swept the Colorado Rockies. God damn, I could not get that one to save my life. But
their first game's Friday, so they get a nice long break.
Yeah, that's true. The Dodgers finished their series last night, right?
Yes.
So I guess they both have to wait.
They both get a nice long break.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the Dodgers. I'm going to go with them. I
got to go with the Brewers still. They're my pick. My NL pick has not changed, but my AL pick is definitely changing. I know the Yankees aren't eliminated yet, but they're down 2-1 in the series. They lost 16-1 last night.
Game 4 tonight.
Yeah, did you see the thing with Severino that I guess he forgot what time the game started? Yeah, he's out there warming up at 7:32, and they're like, "Yo, the game starts at 7:40." He's like, "Oh, good, solid."
But he said "Oh, my routine wasn't rushed." The hell, it wasn't. You had 8 minutes.
Right. Yeah, you can't sit there and act like it didn't affect you. Especially MLB pitchers, they're such creatures of habit. Not even on their pitching day. Their off days. Whenever they throw their, I don't know how it works, but sometimes they'll throw the simulated games. From their 4 days off to their next start, they've got something planned every day. They're creatures of habit, and you cannot tell me that finding out that you're starting to warm up 8 minutes before you're supposed to throw the first pitch that doesn't affect you. So definitely hurts the Yankees.
Who's your new pick? Is it going to be Houston or
Houston?
Boston?
It's Houston, no question.
Yeah.
Houston looked unbeatable against Cleveland. Cleveland's got some
solid
pitchers themselves. I really did too, right? We were both talking, I think, in the last that it was going to be an underrated, right? It was going to be an underrated, probably one of the best ALDS series, and it was a snooze fest. Houston put it on them. And it's like you said last time. Houston's got the best rotation in the playoffs. And then you look at their lineup, and it's
1 through 7 is just oh my God, who are these guys?
And I think the fact that the Astros, the Red Sox, and the who was the third team that won 100 games? Cleveland won 100 games.
I think so.
Are you sure? I don't know if they did.
We'll pause it.
I don't know. We'll find out. He's gonna look it up. But just the fact that 3 teams won 100 games this year. Houston, they were obviously the class of their division, but they weren't the best team. It was all about the Red Sox all season. I think Houston flew under the radar, and it's like we both said last year, or last podcast, that Houston won the World Series last year.
Yankees in Boston.
Oh, Yankees, yeah. I forgot about the Yankees because they were a wild card team, but they won 100 games. But yeah, like I said, Houston flew under the radar because of the Yankees and the Red Sox and the AL. They're the defending champs, and like you said last podcast, they improved their bullpen significantly. It's hard not to look at Houston. And obviously I did it by picking the Yankees, but it's pretty easy to overlook it, right?
But I didn't see Boston. Well, you did. They won 100 and whatever games, 108 games. So Boston's good. They don't have the starting pitching. You obviously saw David Price is still David Price in the playoffs.
Right. I think Boston's going to win this series now. I still think
it goes 5 games. I still think the Yankees are going to win tonight. They're not going to lose in the house of the Yankees. They're going to go back to Boston. I do think Boston wins it because I think they have Chris Sale available for Game 5. I don't know who the Yankees would throw. But again, you never know. The Yankees have that lineup, and sometimes it doesn't matter who the pitcher is. It just depends. But I think you're right now. I think I would pick Houston if I got to repick the AL.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's my repick. Houston Brewers, and it sounds like you're Houston and LA Dodgers. We'll have to see how it goes. Maybe if one of these teams goes, we'll have to.
I think it might be a rematch of last year, and I'm probably
very good. And
Houston.
I would be all right with that. God, what was that game for? Whichever one that just went back and forth, ended up like 11-9. I was watching that. I guess at the same Buffalo Wild Wings that I watched this fight at this Sunday, and that was. I mean, obviously, I've seen Royals playoff games now. I've seen the Cubs come back against Cleveland. That was probably the most entertaining World Series game I've watched in my lifetime.
No, it wasn't. Game 6 of 2011.
Fuck the Cardinals. Fuck that game.
That was the best game ever in the postseason.
I mean, for you.
No, it just strictly game.
Okay, well, I'm saying most entertaining games that I've seen.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm biased, I'll admit that, but the Cardinals being in that game puts it down for me. I'm just saying, all right? I'm sorry. All right, enough of the MLB. We're trying to move on to the NFL. This is what we talk about. This is our bread and butter. We're going straight into the Chiefs talk today. We're not even going to wait for their turn in the scoreboard. The Chiefs beat the Jaguars 30-14. It was a game, I think. Did you pick the Jags to win that one, or?
I don't know if I picked them. I just said the Chiefs could very well lose it as well as win it.
Yeah,
and it's kind of the same thing with the Patriots this week. It was just one of those things where the Jags defense, which didn't look very good. I'm not going to say they looked bad, but the Chiefs definitely just marched on them, and they didn't have a stop for him. Jalen Ramsey looked pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, for as much
as it definitely felt like a battle. Whenever I was watching it, it definitely felt like there were plays that the Jags D won, and then there were plays that our defense won. And I mean, up until the Denver game last week, I think there wasn't really a game that we had like that. I think every game up until that point was, I mean, we were cutting through their defense like butter. It was effortless.
And the thing I think the Jaguars' defense actually played well enough for them to win.
Absolutely.
When Blake Bortles throws 4 picks.
They never had a chance with Blake Bortles. They never had a chance.
If you make that game closer, and I'm pretty sure Bortles threw 2 picks in the red zone within the 10-yard line.
Yeah, one in the end zone, and I mean, I think it might have been all 4 of his picks might have been in the red zone.
No, because Chris Jones' picks was in.
Okay, but they were still.
They were within the. There was
a pick
zone.
at the end of the game.
That's potentially 21 points off the board, and if the defense has a closer game like that, I think they play harder.
Well, I think part of it's on Doug Marrone, too, because the Chiefs are up 10-0 and the Jags have a 4th and goal. I mean, if you take the points right there, the Chiefs had just done the same thing. The Chiefs had 4th and goal, and I mean, me being fired up and a Chiefs fan, I wanted them to go for it. I was like, hell yeah.
You can't.
Right. Andy Reid, I think, made the right decision, and Doug Marrone made the wrong decision. You're down by 10 in the first quarter still. You give up, you kick the field goal, and it's a 7-point game. You've got momentum. You kick off. Obviously, the Chiefs didn't have good field position, but I still think they ended up. They went down and scored a field goal. So it was 13-0, and then the Chris Jones pick 6 made it 20-0 at half. But yeah, I mean, it's all about the momentum there, because not only do you not score and you're still down 10, but then the momentum
then they score
swing.
10 more.
Right. Then the momentum swing of that, plus the fact that they scored 10 more before half. And
I definitely
Blake Bortles never gave him a chance.
And that's what I ultimately think it comes down to. I think the Jags defense actually played well enough to win the game, but because if you think about it, the Chiefs scored 10 unanswered, and that's on Blake Bortles. I mean, they literally got 10 points off Blake Bortles right there, plus 2 other picks and a fumble.
Right.
I mean, you can easily
and the other 2 in the end zone. The one,
yeah. Easily.
I mean, for me, it was comparable to the Mark Sanchez butt fumble. The
exactly.
Fucking he threw it. I mean,
come on.
And I know the replay was zoomed in, but I mean, there wasn't a goddamn receiver. Like, who the hell was he throwing it to?
Yeah,
who are you throwing it to?
Just Blake Bortles, you can easily take 10 to 17 points.
Absolutely.
10 to 17 points, and it makes it 20.
Right.
It makes it 20 to 14 Chiefs win, or 20 to what? 20 to 10? No, 20 to 13 Chiefs lose.
Yeah. So I mean, it was definitely it definitely should have been closer than it. I mean, if the Jaguars could have started Blaine Gabbert, and it would have been a closer game than it was.
Absolutely.
That doesn't change the fact that I think the Chiefs are a better team than the Jaguars. I think the Chiefs outplayed the Jaguars yesterday. And, we got the win. We're 5-0, and we'll talk about the New England game here in a sec. Jalen Ramsey versus Tyreek Hill. I think both guys Ramsey definitely held him in check. What was it? 4 receptions for 60-something yards?
Yeah.
And I mean, one of them came on that 37.
2 really good plays where he definitely got him, and that's what people are going to talk about. He's like, oh, I got Ramsey. But, I mean, you held Tyreek Hill to 4 catches.
Right.
I think overall, I think that was a really good matchup.
Right. And I guess they talked after the game. They're cool. So, I mean, the whole shit. Well, maybe Ramsey if we play each other in the divisional round later in the playoffs, we can spark that up again. Because it was exciting for me. I was stoked. I was sitting there. Yeah. I was like, if we don't fucking throw the ball, I said, we get the kickoff, you fair catch it, and you fucking run a go route to Tyreek Hill, play 1. That's what I wanted to see. But, yeah, I mean, Jalen Ramsey definitely got the better of Hill for some plays. Tyreek Hill got Jalen Ramsey a couple times. There was even 1 or 2 where he didn't get the ball. I mean, they've showed the replay, and he got him off the line. I mean, Tyreek Hill's the fastest player in the NFL, whether he's a return specialist or a wide receiver. I mean, if he's got those moves at the line of scrimmage, you're going to get any cornerback in the league.
That's what makes Jalen Ramsey so good is he doesn't allow those moves right off the line. Right. He's got such long arms and strong as hell anyway. Right. He just doesn't allow people to burn him like that. So typically those plays are downfield, and that's where Hill's going to get his advantage. And Ramsey knew that, and he shut him down within 5 yards. You can see almost 95% of those plays, Hill doesn't get a jump off the line. Right. Because Ramsey's just like, you're not going to beat me like that. You know what I mean?
End of the day, we can talk hypotheticals all day. The Chiefs beat the Jaguars 30-14. Right. The Jaguars are still a top 3 AFC team in my opinion. Chiefs, Jags in the top 3, and the other team is the New England Patriots, and that's who we've got going this game. If you want to go top 4, I'd say the Bengals, and we've got that next Sunday. Just got flexed to Sunday night, but we're not going to get ahead of ourselves here. Chiefs at Patriots on Sunday night.
We got to talk about the Chiefs defense. They played pretty good. But
That's true.
I don't like how they handled themselves when they were winning.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think there was a lot of talking. There was a lot of talking on both sides, and I don't even know that I necessarily blame them because I mean the Jaguars are a team, and I said this Sunday while I was watching the game. The Jaguars are a team who get real shitty whenever they're losing the game. And you saw that in the AFC Championship game against New England last year. They were getting in fights every play. On the kneel downs, on the run outs.
But still, you can't, I mean, Chris Jones, you cannot go out there and fucking punch the dude.
Chris Jones, there's no excuse for that. D Ford, his second penalty, I was actually had to be driving to work when it happened, so I didn't see the second personal foul on D Ford.
Remind me what the penalty.
D Ford got 2 different personal fouls. So.
Oh, I remember which one it was. The first one, he tackled the guy out of bounds, or he pushed him out. You know,
that one I saw.
And
that one was
over him.
Yeah,
I get that. You know, that's not acceptable. We know it's the NFL. Everybody hits hard. That's why you're there.
Right.
But I think the other one was a sack. I can't remember exactly what it was, what the play was. I was watching the game and I just forgot. I wasn't really paying that close of attention. I was more interested in the game after it, but. Anyways, just the fact that you get 2 unsportsmanlike conducts, it's just like, come on.
Right.
You know, and the injuries suck, obviously, for the Chiefs. But
yeah, that's something definitely we're going to have to look at going to this New England game.
It's kind of like the Khabib McGregor. No matter how much shit you talk, you can't sit there and take cheap shots. And that's how I kind of saw it. And you're right, the Jaguars do that.
Chris Jones definitely was. The D4, like I said, I didn't see that one. I know the first one. I mean, the first one's just being fired up. I wouldn't say it was a cheap shot. I think it was taunting is what it was. Right. And I'm not saying that's okay, but I mean, when you're fired up, I mean, don't take any shit, you know?
Right.
I mean, that's fine with me. I mean, the Jaguars come in here.
I'm cool with that too.
Obviously, you got Jalen Ramsey talking shit, and there was the other guy on their defense who's it's funny. Like, shut the fuck up, dude. Get out there and play the game. Like, you got shit on out here. Now what's funny, man? We'll see you in the playoffs, and we'll do the same thing to you at Arrowhead in the snow.
He's getting fired up.
Where's
the yellow flag? Taunting.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's probably taunting on me. 15 yards on 71 black. But yeah, like you said, the injuries. Laurent Duvernay-Tardif, MD, fractured his leg. He'll be out.
I think he was telling the trainers how to fix it though on the field. I'm pretty sure.
He probably was. Like, he probably could have wrapped his own shit up. I mean, he really could have. Yeah, he self-diagnosed before the trainers even got out there. He's like, all right, this is what I need you to do. Wrap it up, get it on ice.
Give me a joint. Yeah. I'm ready. Let's go.
Right. So you got him. Andy Reid did say he should be back before the end of the season. Obviously, by that I think he means week 14, 15, 16. It's not going to be anytime soon.
He might not even play just because why would you want to? Right. Especially if the Chiefs do continue to have a good season, I'm taking the year off.
Right. We'll just have to see. I mean, the Chiefs' offensive line was a question mark going into the season. We haven't had any issues with it so far, but the depth is definitely a concern, and we'll have to see whether it's Jordan Devey or Khalil McKenzie, the son of Raiders GM fucking Frank McKenzie, something McKenzie. I don't even fucking know, but McKenzie's been inactive every game. I don't think he's anywhere near ready to go. He was a defensive lineman in college, and we're trying to convert him, so he's not anyone who's going to play this year.
It's not going to matter. They're just going to just run out of the pocket more often. Is honestly what's going to happen.
Yeah, fortunately for the Chiefs, you've got a quarterback like Mahomes. He can throw it in the pocket. He can throw it out of the pocket. He can get it to his running back.
He can throw it right-handed.
Yeah, we saw 2 or 3 plays against Jacksonville where Jacksonville sent the house, and he was able to back up, just make sure he doesn't get hit, and dump it off to Ware.
He got hit pretty good.
He did get hit a few times.
He got hit pretty good, and he threw his first 2 NFL interceptions. He didn't really have that good of a game, but he didn't have a bad enough game where it cost him, and that's
he
really
makes the
what
plays.
matters.
And the thing is, even if you have a bad game, it looks like from stats, and it did. If you look at his stats, it's not a good game. You're right.
What 314?
He still had that lob, that super floater to Hill or to Kelsey. He makes the plays that don't show up in the...
Exactly.
That just looks like a 25-yard gain to Kelsey or something like that. He makes the plays where it should have been a sack or it should have been an interception that he turns into a first down.
And you can tell, though, and I agree 100%, Mahomes made the plays that matter to win. And
absolutely.
That's legitimately all that matters in the NFL.
Absolutely.
And that's the difference between him and Smith. Like, Smith in that category is not making those plays. And I'm glad they went with Mahomes, but you can tell... when he was getting pressure like that, he made those bad decisions. And in a closer game where it should have been a non-bad Bortles game, if he came out there and had his Bortles last week, those are the games that can win or lose, obviously. And you know that. But
right. Well, like we said, next week we got New England on Sunday night. The Patriots played on Thursday night this week, so they're going to get an extra 3 days to prepare. You know the NFL is going to do this after we beat them at home last week. Got to fucking rig it for the Patriots, so give them that extra time. Make sure they've got 5 games to get their shitty games out of the way in the first few games like they always do. Then we'll have them play the Chiefs. So we'll see. I'm still not worried about it. I'm 5-0 when picking the Chiefs this year, so you know damn well I'm picking the Chiefs. But we'll wait for your pick. We're actually picking the Chiefs as part of our little new picking challenge here, so we'll get to that in a little bit. But honestly, like I said, I'm going to pick the Chiefs, but if there was a game that I thought we were going to lose this year,
beginning of the year, it's
going to be this one. So we'll see, especially with the injuries. Justin Houston, we didn't even talk about, but
he's done.
They said he's very iffy for New England, but they've already said it could be 3 weeks. There's zero chance he plays against New England.
If he does, it's going to be on a pitch count where he's going to get like 15 snaps saying, okay, try.
Right. But, the biggest thing is D Ford. It's D Ford's time to shine. D Ford's got to get out there. Normally, Justin Houston's getting doubled. D Ford's going to be pass rusher number 1. And if he's he's in a contract year, if he's going to make that money or get that franchise tag, either one,
he's got the Chiefs.
No, he's not going to make the money with the Chiefs. We've seen enough of him to know that he's not worth the money, and I think we've already seen the mistake that we made with Justin Houston to know that
and
that's
Tamba
not a good
before
idea.
him.
Right.
Tamba obviously still had a good career afterward.
Well, Tamba got held every fucking down for 16 years too, so nothing I'm bitter about that. But enough about the Chiefs. Got a couple primetime games coming up for them, but let's just go over some of the biggest games of the NFL. We'll leave fucking Titans, Bills alone. Titans, every time you think that they're good, they go and lose to the Bills, and as soon as they were like, oh, well, the Titans look like a complete team, they lose to the Bills. Whatever. Our picks, I had the Dolphins as my upset in our picks from this last week, and they
looked really good through 3-3.
Right, they had a 17-3 lead in the third quarter, and then they just shit all over themselves. They got outscored 24-0 in the fourth. I texted you while the games were going on, and I'm like, hey, my upset's looking pretty good. I had the Dolphins. They're up 17-3.
Which you knew better.
45 seconds later, it was 17-10.
20 seconds after that.
I texted him like, well, shit, 17-10. It's okay. We're still up. 2 minutes later, pick six, 17-17. And then 5 minutes later, fumble recovery touchdown. And just... I was shocked that it was only a 10-point game. I thought they were going to just...
And Colin knows better than to say anything about any game that he's watching because it's a jinx every time.
Right. One of the 3 games that we both picked was Browns-Ravens. We both got this right. The Browns pulled out a 12-9 overtime victory over Baltimore. Was that a touchdown Cleveland scored, or was it just 2 field goals?
No, it was a touchdown, and they missed the extra point.
That's what I thought. I thought there was at least 1 touchdown. So
there was 1 touchdown,
yeah. So the Browns pull it out.
Did you see his kick to win it, though?
No.
The thing cleared by 3 yards and barely enough of the field goal to where it didn't hit the bar.
And it still wasn't the game winner of the week because that happened in Carolina. Holy shit.
Like, that was a bomb.
I'll have to go back and look at that.
Like, here's your field goal, and it made it, like, right here.
Greg Joseph. Hey, I mean, he can't... obviously,
that is the most Cleveland way to win.
It's true.
Such a bad field goal that it barely goes in. That is such a Cleveland way to win. But, hey, they are 500.
Yep. Hey, 2-2-1. That's all you can ask for. I mean, that's... Yeah. Hey, Browns, I still think they're...
It's not going to be
arguably
this year.
They're the worst team in the division still, but I mean...
Next year, they are going to be something.
Right, absolutely. I mean, they could still have a respectable season, and, you know, if there's injuries
5
with the
and 11
or the Bengals or anybody...
I guess 5-10-1 is a respectable season for Cleveland at this point.
Well, I mean, they're 2-2. I mean, so that would be... They would have to go 3-8 from here on out.
3-7.
Right. So,
no,
I mean,
3-8, you're right.
Yeah, we'll see, but the Browns are already looking way better, and... I don't know. I'm always going to root for them because the Royals fan syndrome in me who roots for the lovable losers, the hopeless teams to, you know, have a good season here and there. The Lions beat the Packers 31-23. The Packers have the same record as the Browns now, and I know Aaron Rodgers had a few pointed comments about Mike McCarthy again, and I mean, how long until you just have to get rid of McCarthy? I mean, you have the best quarterback skill-wise, in my opinion, in the NFL. As far as his skills and his head, his smarts,
abilities,
his ability, right? Get rid of McCarthy. Fucking let Aaron Rodgers hire their new coach. I mean, if you got a talent
treat him
like
LeBron.
Exactly. Let him run the damn team. He can be the offensive coordinator. You know. But the Lions win, and I don't know, man. The Lions are 2-3. Their wins are over the Packers and the Patriots.
Who cares?
Yeah, they're just
Broncos, Jets. Yeah, Jets kill them. Who cares? Broncos suck.
Yeah, remember when the Broncos were 2-0 and they were going to be a threat to the Chiefs? Yeah,
I don't
me
remember
because they're fucking terrible.
Steelers were the game we got wrong in our picks.
Our 3 picks
dominated the whole game.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, like I said, the Steelers, I still don't know how good they are. What about the Falcons, man? The Falcons
we said, I think it was last week in the podcast, if they are 500 when they get Le'Veon Bell back,
that's true.
Look out.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to make a second half. I have them winning that division.
But at the same time now, I just think that the Bengals and the Ravens are teams. I mean, it's not like, for me, it's not like an Eagles situation. Like, yeah, the Eagles are sitting at 2-3, but who the fuck do they have to play in the division? I mean, the Eagles could win that division at 7-9 this year and still be a threat in the playoffs.
Yeah, which I get that argument, but they're getting their best player back. I mean, they have Antonio Brown, which obviously him and Big Ben talked about some things.
Right.
But if let's say you're 3-3-1 when you get Le'Veon Bell back, and you've got all division games basically to play, I still think the Steelers win that division. I think it's close.
Right.
I think Cincinnati gets in on the wild card and loses in the first round to the Chiefs. So
that would be nice. I mean, as a Chiefs fan, the only team that I would like to play that has a worse playoff history than us
is
would
the
be
Bengals.
That would be fantastic. Yeah, Steelers 41, Falcons 17. The Panthers beat the Giants 33-31, and this was the best game-winning kick of the year, of the week. Graham Gano from 63. He hit it with a couple yards to spare. Hit a couple yards to spare. The Giants' Odell Beckham Jr. did go off. Not only did he have about 137 reception yards and a touchdown, he had a 57-yard
bomb to Saquon.
57-yard. Yeah, he said, "All right, if we're not gonna throw it deep to me, then give me the fucking ball. I'll throw it deep myself." And it happened. It worked out. But the Giants do lose a shootout.
Yeah, that's about it. Chargers kill them.
Chargers, yeah, this was a game that we picked. We both got this one right. It wasn't very hard. The Raiders just aren't very good, and John Gruden's not very good, and Derek Carr is
better when he's not in the red zone.
Right.
If he stops at the 21-yard line and doesn't do anything besides throw it toward the end zone, they might win some more games. But
Derek Carr wears mascara, though, so he's not very good. Derek Carr's more focused on his acting career and afraid of getting hurt because he doesn't want to fucking ruin his post-NFL carear. He should just retire now.
That's true.
I remember when I was jealous of the Raiders. I was like, man, they got Derek Carr. They got a franchise quarterback. Now I'm sitting here with Mahomes. I'm like, what a scrub! Hey, you're a bum. Vikings beat the Eagles 23-21. Like I said, the Eagles fall to 2-3, but until the Eagles are 2-7, if I'm them, I'm still not worried. I'm just, it's a long season. The NFC East is trash, and
which is honestly crazy because 5 years ago.
That
was by far the best division. Right. We had 3-4 teams literally all packed.
I mean, generally it's the Eagles, the Giants, and the Cowboys are really good, and then the Redskins suck. I mean, that's how it normally goes. And then, even then.
Now it's okay, we all kind of suck right now, but I still think the Eagles are by far the class of that division. They're figuring out some things. They have injuries going on. Wentz is healthy. He played amazing.
Right.
They got to figure out the defense a little bit, but hey, they lose
at
home.
I mean, and the Vikings are a very good team. They were off to a slow start as well at 1-2-1, but I mean, Kirk Cousins is still on pace to set Vikings passing records. He's on pace to go over 5,000 yards.
Is just unbelievable.
Right. I mean, it's not like the Vikings have played bad. It's not like Kirk Cousins have played bad. So they're still going to be a threat. And I mean, the Packers lost this week again. The Vikings are probably my favorites to win that NFC North still.
I agree.
I mean, you got the Bears that I think the Bears can compete for a wild card spot, but Trubisky. You
never know.
6 touchdowns against Tampa Bay, but I still think the Bears' offense is going to be the deal breaker for them this year. But yeah, 2-3 Eagles there. They shouldn't be worried yet. They've still got the NFC East on lock.
Rams, Seahawks.
Well, we got to say your
my
three-pointer.
upset.
Yeah, Devin
my
hit
upset,
his three-pointer.
I did call the Cardinals over the 49ers.
And I must say, and you got to admit, this was going to be mine too.
This was going to be yours.
I wanted to pick the Cardinals, but I didn't want us to have, we already picked the same 3 in our 3 picks, so I went a different way, and like I said, I almost had it, but the Dolphins defecated all over themselves.
That's why it's going to be fair. I'll pick first the one week, and you'll pick first the next week. That way.
Right. Well, and our picks today are going to be different anyways, I think we know. I don't know what yours is. I already told you mine, but we'll get to those here in a little bit, though. The Rams did beat the Seahawks. The Seahawks had a lead a lot of the game. The Rams scored the tying touchdown and then missed the extra point, so it was 31-30, and I was like, oh, shit, Seahawks are going to get the win, and I was at work, so I couldn't see exactly what happened, but yeah, I mean, Seahawks.
And the Seahawks proved why they lost the Super Bowl.
Did they throw a slant on 4th and 1?
they were an idiot. No,
yeah.
1st and goal.
Yeah.
We can talk about Brees. The Cowboys suck. Texans win. Done.
Yeah, you're right. Texans do win it in overtime, 19-16. But DeAndre Hopkins that fucking spin cycle play.
Yeah,
that was pretty dirty. Jason Garrett's a pussy for kicking it on 4th and 1 from their own 42-yard line. But at the same time, the Texans have won their last 2 games in overtime. The Colts went for it on 4th down and missed it, and then the Cowboys punted. So just goes to show you. I mean, you just got to execute. It doesn't matter as much decision making as just execution and having the playmakers and making plays like DeAndre Hopkins did. Yeah. So, yeah, like you said, Cowboys suck. New Orleans Saints, congratulations to Drew Brees. He set the NFL career passing yardage record last night,
and he still has years to go, which is absolutely amazing.
Right? Is he gonna break the passing touchdown record this year?
No.
Well, because he's at 499. What's Manning's record? I thought it was 505.
No, it's more than that.
I don't know. I mean, he's gonna break it. He's definitely gonna break it. Saints win 43-19 over the Redskins, and it honestly wasn't even that close. Go to just search Deadspin and Alex Smith and look at the fucking article that they put out. Alex Smith had the worst game in the history of quarterbacking last night against the Saints. That's not true. I mean, we watched 4 years of Matt Castle. I mean, it was pretty bad. I mean, Alex Smith, not a good look last night. The Redskins definitely lost the Kendall Fuller-Alex Smith trade to the Chiefs, and the Redskins are definitely dumb for thinking that letting Kirk Cousins walk and trading for Alex Smith, who's older and not as good. I mean, that's just classic Redskins, though. I mean, I wouldn't expect anything less from
Cousins
them.
looks a lot better now because he has someone to throw to. I mean,
but Cousins looked good enough that, if I'm the Redskins, I'm fucking signing him before I franchise him 3 years in a row.
I get that. I 100% get that, but I'm just saying, Thielen and Diggs, that's... Whew.
Right.
That's a lot better than Paul Richardson and Pierre Garçon, I guess he's not even there anymore, but you know what I'm talking about.
No, you're right.
Not even the same.
So I guess here's my question to you. I feel like we both agree on Tom Brady, greatest of all time, at least number 1 as far as legacy goes.
There's obviously a top 3, and they're all from this era, in my opinion.
Okay,
you can't argue
now
Marino,
my question
you can't
is,
argue Montana and stuff like that. But
I think they're just,
they're good.
Of their eras, they were the greatest of all time, but I think it's now a passing league. The league has changed, and as far as quarterbacks go, you're right. So,
Brady, Brees, and Manning are the best 3 quarterbacks of all time.
So if we agree that Brady's number 1, who's your number 2? Is it Brees or Manning?
I still think it's Manning.
Really? See, I think it's Brees. I think by the time it's all said and done, it's going to be Brees. If Brees wins a Super Bowl this year, would you say it was Brees?
No, and my only argument is because Manning legitimately missed a year in his prime.
You're right.
I think Manning, if he doesn't get the neck injury and then basically go to a Broncos team that kind of really wasn't that good.
Drew Brees missed significant time too with his shoulder tear.
No, that was at the end of the year. He was back. by.
He didn't miss any time?
No, he missed time, but he didn't miss a full season.
I guess that's true. I don't know.
I mean, obviously, there's Brees, the way he's played, the way he carries himself, how he does it, it's you can't put it in words. Like, the guy is going down as a top 3, if not arguably number 1, number 2. Those 3 put together.
And he's flown under the radar the entire time, too, because the debate has always been, up until Brady's last couple rings, it was always Brady or Manning.
Yeah,
you got Brady's championships versus Manning's statistics, and I mean, now Drew Brees is coming up here, and I mean, he's already broken Manning's yardage record. He's on pace to break Manning's touchdown record. He's got 1 Super Bowl. They didn't lose a Super Bowl, did they? He's 1-0 in the Super Bowl. Okay, so I mean, obviously, even if he wins the Super Bowl this year or something and goes 2-0 in the Super Bowl, he's not going to pass Brady. But in my opinion, he's going to pass Manning. I don't know necessarily that he's passed Manning yet, but I think once it's all said and done, once he has those 2 records.
See, I would agree with that because Brees still has like at least 2 years left, I would say, in his career.
Right.
The only reason that I don't think he passes Brady is because Brees has typically had a good team around him. I mean, I'm not saying that he hasn't had
He's had a good offense.
He's always had a good offense.
His defense by year has been like 22nd or worse.
Yeah,
I mean, almost every year.
But I'm talking about mainly offense. I mean, obviously, Brady can't control his defense, but Brady's made names for people who weren't any good.
Right.
And Brees has typically had people to throw to. I mean, Jimmy Graham at tight end.
And he's always had great running backs.
Yeah. And that's why I edge Brady over Brees. But obviously, Brees is in my top 3. I have Manning at 2. I do agree that Brees can potentially overtake Manning when it's all said and done. But my argument now is Manning literally missed the whole season with his neck in his prime.
Right. No, you're right, and I think
and his career changed after it because he had to completely change how he quarterbacked. Right. Manning could throw the ball a long, long ways, and he couldn't do that after his neck.
That's true. I don't know, but I mean, I think and I guess that's a credit to Manning that he was so smart that and I mean, all of his adjustments and his reading of the defense, he could still
beat you basically with
no arm. I mean, he couldn't throw. I mean, that playoff
he had a Tebow arm and still
he couldn't throw the ball 25 yards. That year they won the Super Bowl. I mean, obviously they benched him for Osweiler in the Chiefs game, and Osweiler ends up starting the rest of the season up until the playoffs. But I mean, yeah, it was amazing the fact that, I mean, he could barely get the ball off to fucking running backs on checkdowns sometimes, and just to see him out there broken and still leading a team and still able to, I mean, lead him to a Super Bowl. Now, don't get me wrong, they won that Super Bowl off the best defense in recent history in the NFL and a hell of a running game, but still, Peyton Manning's a guy, I mean, do the Broncos win that fucking Super Bowl with Case Keenum? That same exact roster, but you switch Manning for Keenum? No. Or even Osweiler. If Osweiler starts the whole year, they don't win that. Right. Peyton Manning helped him win that Super Bowl, and yeah, I don't know. But like I said, I think Drew Brees ends up surpassing Peyton Manning as far as legacy goes, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. The time has come to do our picks again. Like I said, Devin is winning 7-4 after week 1. We we picked Steelers Falcons, we picked Browns Ravens, and we picked Chargers Raiders. We both got 2 out of 3 on that one. We had the Browns and the Chargers. Devin's upset was the Cardinals over the Niners, and he got that one. My upset was the Dolphins over the Bengals, and I did not get that one. We both got our locks. I took New Orleans over Washington last night on Monday Night Football, and he took New England over the Colts in Thursday Night Football, and that's how we got to where we are right now. It's a 3-point lead for him. We got a long ways to go. What do we got? 11 games, 12 weeks to go. So I'm not too worried about it yet. The 3 games we're going to be picking this week are the Sunday Night Football game, our Chiefs, my Chiefs against the Patriots, the Steelers in Cincy, and the Ravens at the Tennessee Titans. So we'll go ahead and I'll make my pick first here. I already said I'm picking the Chiefs. I'm 5-0 when I pick the Chiefs this year, and I expect that to continue. Obviously, my confidence to this game compared to the other probably 5 games, with the exception of the Pittsburgh game, I guess, this year, is a little bit lower. But, I mean, every time I think the Chiefs can lose, they prove to me that they can find a way to win, no matter what adversity they've seen so far this year. And I think it continues. I think the Mahomes hype, if he can go into New England and win, whether it's a shootout or whatever it is, if they can go in there and win this one, it's way different than it was last year, and I think the whole Mahomes MVP hype and the whole Mahomes hype is realistic after this if we can win it. But that's my pick. Go ahead with yours.
I'm going to take New England in the Sunday night game. I think you give Tom Brady 10 days to prepare for a defense that's shaky at best. They bend and don't break, which I give them credit for that.
Get off the field on third down. Second best team in the league on third down.
Yeah, then that's why I said they bend but don't break. But you give Tom Brady 10 weeks to look at a defense that is now banged up at their pass rush, so now they're just going to get extra time to throw the ball. I don't know. It's going to be tough for me to see them losing. I think it's going to be a shootout because I don't think New England can stop Mahomes either. But when it's a game like that, I take the home team, and it happens to be in Foxborough. So I'm taking New England just mainly for those reasons. I'm not trying to be a KC hater. I know I picked them to be shaky against Jacksonville, and it would have been a lot closer of a game if they didn't have Bortles. Right. And that's another thing, too. You're not facing Bortles this week.
No, absolutely. And the circumstances are just so different than last year. I mean, I think a lot of people are like, oh, we beat them last year. What was week one? They were getting the Lombardi Trophy. It's a Super Bowl hangover. Andy Reid, whenever you give Andy Reid even a bye week to prepare, Andy Reid had a whole ass offseason to prepare for New England. So, I mean, he knew what he was doing. And so this one, it's Sunday night again in New England. The Patriots have an extra 3 days to prepare. It's
like a bye week. It's literally like a bye week for them.
All the circumstances definitely point towards New England, and I would not be the least bit surprised if New England did pull this out. I would be disappointed, but at the same time, it's not going to change my expectations about the Chiefs now.
It literally can't.
You know my expectations, and he likes to try and temper them a little bit, and that's fair because
I bring it down just a little bit.
And a lot of mine are obnoxious because I like to, we're winning, we're beating the Eagles 72-10 in the Super Bowl this year, but I don't know. I wouldn't be disappointed. I would be disappointed, but it's not going to make me change my expectations for the Chiefs this year, which
should not. I mean, you're easily going to win that division. Right. You're easily going to be a top 3, realistically a top 2 seed.
I don't see. I mean, if someone tweeted out last night, if the Chiefs can get to 7-0, if we can beat the Patriots and the Bengals, which is the biggest test, we'll have a 2-game lead over everybody else in the AFC.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
Right. I mean, it'll
be a clear number.
At that point, it's a wrap. Right. At that point, it's a wrap.
But you can't be too confident in the playoffs because the Chiefs are home in the playoffs.
You're right.
But again, I'm not trying to be a KC hater. It's just all signs are New England this week. And it's hard to go against Tom Brady at home.
I'd much rather lose to New England in mid-October than in January.
Absolutely. If you can lose to New England this week, but beat them in the AFC Championship game,
let New England beat us 70-0.
Who gives a shit?
Right.
Let them win by 50 points if you're going to guarantee yourself a trip to the Super Bowl. Absolutely.
Right. So the next game is the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Cincinnati Bengals. The Steelers are 2-2-1, and the Bengals are 4-1. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So. I got to take the Bengals in this one. I've said it the whole time this year. I think the Steelers are falling apart. I know they've put it together a little bit the last couple weeks, but I've got the Bengals. I think the Bengals are a pretty solid team in October especially. We'll talk about the playoff Bengals in the playoffs, but they're looking good again for the first time in a couple years, and I got the Bengals over the Pittsburgh Steelers in my second game.
See, I'm taking Pittsburgh. We're going to have a couple different, which is good.
I
think that makes it a little bit better. I got a 3-game lead, so I'm not too worried about your picks.
but 3 can be wiped out if you miss your lock or some shit and lose a point. See?
You lose 2 points for missing the lock.
No, you lose 1. You get 2 and you lose 1. Yes, that's what we decided.
Okay.
If you win it, you get 2.
Yeah. Either way, it doesn't matter. But I'm taking Pittsburgh. I think they looked really good last week playing Atlanta.
They're starting to get it rolling for sure.
And that's true. And I think it's hard to pick against them. And they know they're getting Le'Veon Bell back in 2 weeks, so they're going to let James Conner just kind of take the reins until that happens. I don't know. It's hard to pick against Pittsburgh, so I'm going to. And Pittsburgh's own kind of Cincinnati for the past few years.
Yeah. And I mean, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if this is a game I get wrong, but just since he's hot and since he's at home,
absolutely.
And I don't know. I just think with it being early in the season, since he's kind of
they got a better chance.
Yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely. So give me Cincy in this one, and I want you to pick first on this one. Baltimore at Tennessee. Who you got?
Baltimore.
Okay.
I have to take Baltimore here. I know Tennessee's kind of like, maybe, but they just lost to the Bills.
Right.
I mean, they just lost to the Bills after beating Philly. How do you beat
and Jacksonville?
Yeah, how do you beat the 2 of the top 3 in each conference, then lose to Buffalo? I cannot make myself do it. I wouldn't be surprised if I get this wrong though, because Tennessee's stupid as hell, and you never know what they're gonna do. Right. But I'm gonna take Baltimore after losing to Cleveland.
Well, I hope you do get it wrong. Obviously, Baltimore just lost to Cleveland. Tennessee just lost to Buffalo. But Tennessee does have a couple quality wins in Jacksonville and Philly.
They do.
So give me Tennessee at home. I think the Titans do have a good team. They have a real solid defense. Their offense is... I mean, yeah. And I think, they've been talking about it on the major networks this week. I think those players have really bought into Mike Vrabel. I think he's young enough that he's still... I mean, obviously he's a winner. He's definitely right. Yeah, he's got the player mentality, and he's young enough. He's just fired up. He's... I don't know. I think they've really bought into him, and I think Tennessee can definitely be a playoff team this year. Whether it's a AFC South winner, they've already got one head-to-head win against Jacksonville. I'll take Tennessee over Baltimore in this one. So we're picking all three against each other. Yeah, so this will definitely provide some separation this week. It's either definitely going to, yeah.
Either way.
Obviously, the wild cards here, though, are the locks and the upsets.
And you have to pick both of yours first, because I picked both of mine first last week.
Okay, sorry. I saw something about Travis Kelce. I thought he was hurt. I was about to freak out. All right.
Yep, you're picking yours first this week.
All right, so my lock is going to be the Los Angeles Rams over whoever the hell they were playing.
You're scrolling way too fast. You passed it 17 times.
Did I really?
Yeah, Broncos.
All right, anyway, sorry. We'll start this over. My lock today is going to be the Rams over the Broncos. The Rams are 5-0. The Broncos are 0-3 after their 2-0 start. The Rams are in Denver, so it'll probably be a little bit. Obviously, that's a home field advantage for Denver in that cold air, in that thin air, excuse me. But the Rams are looking really good. They got their first win with some, when things weren't all going their way against Seattle last week. So give me the Rams as my lock to pull it out. And then my upset pick, I forgot who my upset was going to be. Oh, yeah. And as for my upset, the Jets are somehow a 2.5-point favorite over the Colts at home. I know the Colts are 1-4, but I just feel like the Colts are definitely a better team than the Jets. You got Darnold starting for the Jets. I just don't see it. I'm going to take advantage of that line and pick the Colts as my upset pick over the Jets in New York.
If the Colts aren't healthy, the Jets will win that game. If they don't have T.Y. and stuff like that. But keep going.
Yeah, I don't know. I see the Colts as a better team. Even if they don't have T.Y., if they've got Luck out there, I think Luck can win them the game against a team like the Jets. Obviously, the Colts still don't have that good of a team, and Luck can't do everything by himself, especially coming off a year and a half, damn near 2 years of being out with an injury. But I definitely see the Colts beating the Jets this week, and that's my upset. So,
all right, let's do this thing. My lock, I'm taking a homer pick on this one because it better be a fucking lock. Otherwise,
2 weeks in a row on Thursday Night Football lock.
Yep, I got to. I'm taking Philly over the Giants. Philly's only a 3-point favorite because they're in New York and they just lost again back-to-back weeks, and I don't see them losing 3 in a row. But it's slightly a homer pick. The Giants really aren't good at home. They're not good against Philadelphia for the past 4 years. I have a feeling this might be our breakout offensive game and our defensive game because Eli Manning's the quarterback, and Odell Beckham's obviously one of the best receivers in football, but he can't get it to him. And Saquon Barkley is going to get shut down running-wise because the Eagles have the best run defense in football, and that is actually statistically proven, so fuck all you haters.
Whatever.
Exactly. And that was my lock, my upset. Where'd it go? All right, my upset is a 1-point upset, but I'm taking Carolina over Washington.
Oh, Jesus Christ. What? Oh, my God.
Carolina is going to beat Washington because Alex Smith is the quarterback, and the Redskins suck. And they will always suck because it's the Redskins.
And let's talk about finding good lines. I thought New York, 2.5-point favorite over Indy was a good line. Washington's a 1-point favorite. I know it's at home, but over the Panthers? Are you fucking kidding me?
This is why I am going to win the picks because
no shit.
I find the good games.
Right. If I would have even looked... Houston is only a 1-point favorite over Buffalo?
Yeah, that would have been a good lock.
Yeah, that would have been a great lock. Holy shit.
But anyways, yeah, the Panthers are a better complete team. I mean, obviously, you couldn't stop Drew Brees. I know Cam Newton's a different quarterback than Drew Brees. Brees is one of the greatest of all time. Newton is not, but Newton brings a different kind of quarterbacking to the field that Brees does not. So I'm taking Carolina over the Alex Smith-led Washington Redskins.
All right, well, there you have it, guys. Those are our picks. Like I said, comments on the Facebook comments or the YouTube comments or whatever it is. Our 3 games are Kansas City at New England, Pittsburgh at Cincinnati, and Baltimore at Tennessee. Give us your 3 picks on those games. Give us one team you think is a lock to win, and give us one team you think is going to upset their opponent this week. And we'll kind of keep track of your points along with ours. I know we got a couple people that are doing it in the YouTube comments. I don't know if you saw, but hopefully we can get a few more in that and see how our picks look. I think after I saw your upset, I'm a little bit more nervous about my picks this week already, unfortunately. But we'll just have to see how it goes. It's definitely going to be some separation happening this week anyway, since we don't agree on any of the 3. Right.
And none of the other stuff either, which is good. I think it'll be a good week for me.
Right, absolutely. Now, we've got some breaking news here on the ESPN page. I got to go up here and find it real quick, but the Chiefs placed guard Laurent Duvernay-Tardif on IR. Now, obviously, he will be eligible to return before the end of the season, but, we already talked about it. He's going to miss significant time. And the Chiefs, reliable, they signed Frank Zombo to replace Justin Houston.
Why is this guy still playing?
Oh, my God, because, I don't know.
But he's fucking Bob Sutton's guy. He's not bad. But he's bad, but he's not bad. You know what I mean? Like he's one of those guys that's just a veteran.
He's a guy who knows the system. I feel like and obviously I get it. He has had significant playing time and he knows the system. And we need somebody clearly because Houston's going to miss significant time.
Is a healthy Frank Zombo better option than an unhealthy Justin Houston though?
I mean
Houston's really not the same Houston.
No, he's not, and I don't think he ever will be. And I think he gets cut after this season because we need money. We need the cap space to improve our defense overall. But I don't know. I think my question is a healthy Frank Zombo better than a healthy Breland Speaks and Tano Passano? Because if he is, then we've got major problems with our drafting because those are 2 guys we've drafted with pretty high picks over the last 2 years that we've expected to come in and help with our run defense and help with our pass rush.
Playing more inside.
He like is, but I mean, he still isn't playing as much as you would expect him to. And Breland Speaks, after getting, we traded up to get Breland Speaks, and he's seen like 13 snaps all year or something like that. So, I mean, if Zombo comes in here and gets significant playing time over those guys, then my concern is with, did we miss on a couple of guys in the draft? Special. Right. Did we miss on some guys in the draft that would have really helped our defense right now? So, we'll see with that. But, Chiefs re-signed Frank Zombo and placed Duvernay-Tardif on the IR. Hopefully Tardif will be back before the end of the year to help bolster that offensive line. But that'll do it for this podcast. I hope we didn't go too long. I hope we kept your attention this whole way. But this has been BELLSKI and DMAN 4. My name's Colin Bell. That's Devin Willman. Find me on Twitter, Instagram at KCRBELLSKI. And him at Baseball Devin. I know you like to do your own sometimes.
It's whatever. I haven't gotten any followers from this, but that's probably because I'm a Chiefs hater.
It's true.
But, it's all good. At Baseball Devin on Twitter, Snapchat, anything with my name involved is at Baseball Devin.
Yep.
Let's get this W, baby. We still haven't gotten anybody to pick our friendly wager yet.
Oh, yeah. Someone let us know what the losers got to do whenever.
You mean Colin?
Yep. It's already
You mean Colin?
All right. Have a great day, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next Wednesday.